inside the building.
Is Jim in better shape now, would you say, or worse shape?
It's in no shape. I mean, sad to say. 20 years ago, I made a film to try and warn people about this company, that it was on the skids, it was not going to recover, and it was being run by, you know, numbskulls. And look where they led it. Look what they did to this once great company. He's apologizing, I think, because they've seen you filming this now. President Obama, as the de facto CEO of this company, has to really say, look, you know, you're going to have to be a transportation company for the 21st century. The old days are gone. I think if he does that, if we've got some forward thinking here, we're going to save these factories and save these jobs. And I'm going to give people 2 great hours at the movie theater, where you walk out of there, man, you are going to be exhilarated. You're going to be upset. You're going to maybe just want to get involved in our democratic process. All of that. Let's go see that capitalism movie.
Big Detroit welcome for, I'm putting her up for Best Actress in a Supporting Role, the Oscars this year. Please welcome Representative Marcy Kaptur from Toledo.
Michael, when he was coming down the aisle, that I thought this was his finest work. I kept saying words to myself like masterful, on point. You never lost the audience. I mean, the way this was put together just draws you in, and you don't want it to stop, right? How long does it last? I mean, it held us the whole time, right? It doesn't matter how long it was. It doesn't matter how long it was. And I don't know what a credit to you and all the research you must have done to pick up those film clips, like the dog, everybody trying to get up to the table, the bouncing dog. I love that. I love that. And going back, you know, to the history of film, what you must know and the people that work with you, I think we really, for Michael and for all of his associates who are here today, let's give them another round of applause.
Thank you for taking the risk of being in a film with me, because while about 60% of the country will adore you, you have no idea what's in store.
Do you know where Joe the plumber lives?
Joe the plumber is in your district, isn't he? Oh my goodness! Oh, great! There's a foreclosure filing in America now once every 7.5 seconds.
Wow.
Seconds. All right? 1 out of every 8 homes now, mortgages, are in delinquency or foreclosure. I mean, this is insanity. And one of the things I'm going to have on my website is a petition to President Obama, a presidential decree, a moratorium on foreclosures and evictions, especially. You know, and I'm also going to have, I haven't told you, I haven't got your permission yet for this, but I'm going to have the Marcy Kaptur, How Not to Leave Your Home. And no, I've got lawyers who are, what she said in the movie there, you have to understand, because you probably paid some attention to when the crash happened, of how they take our mortgages and they split them up into all these little pieces, bundle them, sell them off, sell them again, take bets on them,
And trying to find your original is impossible.
if you took them to court
That's right. You can't.
and said, Your Honor, have them produce the mortgage. They can't produce it. It's been chopped up into 100 pieces and sent to China and Russia and Argentina.
13 years ago today, you gave me the privilege of being Crackers, your corporate crime-fighting chicken, on stage in the Majestic Theater. With all the corporate crime we have seen in this absolute masterpiece that is going to be your Academy Award Best Picture.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
When are you going to bring Crackers out of retirement?
You know, I wrote a scene for this movie. I was going to bring all my corporate crime-fighting superheroes from my TV shows that I've had on NBC and Bravo. I was going to bring Crackers back. I was going to bring Louis Bruno, the convicted, the murderer. There was one episode where I just got tired of going after these corporations, so I hired a bunch of 4-year-olds and dressed them in red berets and pictures of me on their T-shirts, and sent them into corporate lobbies to try and talk to the chairman.
Deluded by reaction, on tyrants only will make.
Right in the back, Anthony King at the beginning of the film when he was evicted from his home here in Detroit is with us here today. Anthony? The home was in his family for, as you said, 40-some years, and you know, we're going to see what we can do to help you and the others in the Hacker family in Peoria. We've already made some progress there in terms of helping people get their homes back. These are crimes, and you were so gracious in letting us film probably the worst day of your life. So thank you very much, Anthony, for that. We really appreciate it. The former sheriff of Wayne County, now the current chief of police here in Detroit. I didn't mean to imply that you were breaking the laws. That was a euphemism, because I know that you follow the law. And actually, it's so good to see someone like you in a position like this and all the good that you can do. Please, a warm round of applause for the police chief, the new police chief here in Detroit, Warren Evans. You know, when I make these films, I want to bring you information that you're not being told by the nightly news.
Staff people who worked really long and hard on stopping the foreclosures. Kate Benamy right here, who in a strange twist of fate, once I left to become the police chief in Detroit, has now been summarily dismissed from her job, and next month may be facing the same kind of foreclosure issues. So the world can really spin around, but she's a great lawyer. We're working on some things now, but she was the one doing the nuts and bolts, holding up hundreds and hundreds of foreclosure sales for me on a regular basis, and I just had to acknowledge.
Wow, thank you so much. You are amongst the first Americans to see that Roosevelt footage, which had been lost for 65 years. No American ever got to see it. It was ended up. It was in a box in South Carolina. And we found it, and I'm so happy that the public is going to be able to hear that for the first time, that 65 years ago, we had a president who had this vision of how the country should be. And so, of course, obviously my hope is that President Obama will be the Roosevelt of this century. I've been overjoyed since last November 4th. That, to me, was a big breath of fresh air blown in through the window. And I saw Barack Obama's name down on the ballot, and I just started to cry. I mean, seriously, I was like cried in the voting booth. I couldn't believe that this man's name was on this ballot. I was going to vote for him, and there was a good chance in a few hours he'd be president of the United States. So anyways, one of my tears fell down onto the, right where it smeared the ballot, and I'm like trying to rub it and, you know, blow on it. And anyways, I walked out of the voting booth, and my eyes are all red. My wife's standing there looking at me, and she said, "Pull yourself together, man." I said, "I know I can't help it. It's just been 8 years of this." And I don't mean for the planet. I just mean me personally. I don't to suffer this abuse anymore. You know, it's just really weird. It's so weird to be standing in here because they've got so much security out there.
How'd you get in?
Well, they wouldn't let me in a couple hours ago because the press wanted to come in and interview me while you were watching the movie. And so General Motors apparently had sent down the word that I was not to be allowed in the building for my own premiere if I had any press with me. And so we had to go and rent a room across the street, not at this Marriott, but at the hotel across the Jefferson. And so I've been there for 2 hours answering questions at a press conference and doing interviews. And then I was allowed to walk back across the street and come in here as long as there were no cameras or press with me, because they didn't want that shot, I guess, of me walking to the GM building. So. But here I am, 20 years later.